Been one of unprecedented scale. The conclusion of today's investigation has involved a highly coordinated and precisely timed execution of multiple search warrants across multiple jurisdictions by over 1,000 officers.
You can't possibly stop every single vehicle and do, a strip search of every vehicle that comes across the border. So the last few cases have been intelligence-led, and that's where we're getting the amounts that we are, the recoveries that we are at the border. Our top source states this year has been Michigan, Florida, Ohio, Kentucky, Texas, top 5. Ohio is one of our top source states. Gun shows, very large gun shows are held in Ohio, and therefore you have that I-75 corridor that leads you right into the Windsor Tunnel.
We're at Canada's busiest border crossing, the Ambassador Bridge. Last year, 7 million people entered Canada at this border crossing. Every American entering Canada is asked if they have a firearm in their possession, and only those who don't declare them will, of course, be arrested.
With the flow of traffic so high, it's impossible to catch all the firearms, but not even a good chunk of them are stopped. Consider that in 2008, at the busiest border point, just 28 firearms were confiscated. 28 in a year. Remember 28? That was also the number of handguns our young informant in Toronto took pictures of in only a few hours. Border agents aren't having much more success anywhere in Canada. In all of 2008, at every border crossing, fewer than 524 firearms were stopped. The West Coast stopped 191, the Prairie region seized 92, and the total Windsor area, which includes 3 border points, nabbed 89. No one knows the number that still slipped through, but Regina Lombardo's successful conviction of 1 illegal handgun runner suggests the number is enormous. In 2006, Ohio native Ricardo Tolliver was arrested as part of a joint Canada-US operation called Bluegrass.
After Ricardo was arrested, he admitted to transporting and shipping into Canada between 200 to 500 weapons. We have absolutely been able to verify 85 of those for sure. We have recovered them in several crimes throughout the province of Ontario mainly. I feel kind of proud to say that we've sort of pulled resources from both sides of the border and worked this investigation to this outcome. And yeah, I feel pretty good.
Yesterday, Ricardo Tolliver, 33 years old, was sentenced to 32 years in federal prison. 10 people have been convicted. Mr. Tolliver was the last of the 10 people. They would either purchase the guns, smuggle the guns across the border, smuggle marijuana from Ontario back to Detroit.
These are the types of outcomes that we believe will help in this fight. If we look at the border as a little bit more transparent for law enforcement to come together to work, I believe that the shared responsibility and the outcome of these types of investigation is really the name of the game.
Tolliver alone admitted to smuggling more than 500 illegal handguns, likely destined for the streets of Toronto. Remember, only 528 were stopped in all of Canada in 2008. How many Ricardo Tollivers are there in all the United States? He's certainly not the only one trading guns for drugs. But after 4 years of hard work by authorities on both sides of the border, he's one of only a handful who have been stopped. In a moment, getting at the handguns young Canadians already have, we'll reveal how a city got thousands turned in. In a city like Toronto, where it's reasonable to assume most of the handguns are held illegally and increasingly by children, how do you encourage them to turn them in? Well, by offering to trade them for something they might want more. A program called Pixels for Pistols. Turn in your gun and you get a free digital camera, no questions asked. The offer was obviously targeted at young people, and several Canadian cities have been deluged with weapons.
In the 40 days this program ran, we receive close to 1,800, 1,900 firearms, well over 40,000 rounds. Well over 40,000 rounds of ammunition, and I can tell you that some of the firearms that we received during this 40-week period is astounding.
In Toronto, 2,254 guns were turned in, 557 of them handguns. A significant haul, which hinted at the variety and number of guns in the city and the hidden violence many of our youth are exposed to. These programs produce compelling statistics and images, but do they actually work?
Instead of spending billions of dollars into handgun amnesty programs or give a computer or a camera for a gun, which gets a lot of guns, because if I have 6, I'll give you 2 for a couple cameras. The reality is that you need to work with that guy so he gets rid of all of them on his own.
Jabari Lindsay runs Toronto's only program trying to help kids leave gangs. That's right, there's only one. Efforts to shut down the gun trade get most of the public's attention and money, but we're spending little trying to educate kids on the physical and emotional harm they bring.
The pipeline is what we continue to talk about, of guns coming from the US, and we need to stop the influx of guns into our city, and we have to make sure that, people are safe. And when in all reality, the kids, they don't have anything else to reach for. The kids grow up, all they know is this. And they look outside of this and think that that world is not for me, this world is for me. If you see the roofs falling apart, all the shingles are coming down, the rain's coming through, people put in their requests for fixing, nothing happens. So as a kid, I grow up just feeling dejected. So that kid at 12, 13, 14, playing in the parking lot, hanging around doing nothing, he starts to hang around with the older guys doing nothing and gets past his first weapon, because this is our neighborhood and we have to keep it safe because no one else is going to protect us.
The gang exit program called Breaking the Cycle gives young people training in conflict management, one-on-one counseling, and a new perspective on the choices they've already made and now regret. They express their personal journeys through artwork that hangs on the walls. Each story's unique, yet with much in common.
Tell me the quote and tell me how it relates to your goal.
The quote is, the difference between the impossible and possible lies in a person's determination.
My goal is to keep pushing myself, continue to being positive.
My goal is to make the next 6 months of my life better.
How do you do that?
I want to go back to school.
Basically, I was at the point where I felt like giving up.
My goals is, first off, I want to get responsibility for myself so I can get myself back into school.
You live by the gun, you die by the bullet. If all you do is think about guns out there, so you're gonna end up getting shot.
No one in the program wanted to appear on camera. No one, that is, except Leroy Coldspring. At 20, he's barely out of childhood himself.
His brother went through the program. He had a friend that went through the program. He's been around the peripheral of a lot of different gangs within the city.
It's hard. It's hard when you live in a world where it's like people already set your future for you or try to claim they set your future for you. And then, I like to educate myself when I was younger. I always educated myself, and I felt the fact that I liked it, I assumed other people would like it too, but apparently not.
The support that he should have gotten from the community that he lived in, he didn't get. And he made choices to survive. Who are you going to be?
I made a lot of mistakes in my past. I got arrested and stuff like that. I saw a lot of friends go, saw a lot of friends come. I have a small circle now, and it's too much things to deal with, and I just wanted to get away from it all. So I came here.
How do you think you've come along since you started the program?
I came along a long way, My relationship with my mom was on the rocks a little bit. And through this, I patched it up a little bit, and that helps. It always helps to have somebody, a foundation behind you.
The choices that he made to survive are some good ones and some bad ones. The bad ones, he to this day, 3 months in with us, he still doesn't really talk about.
I don't like talking about the trouble stuff. It'll put me back into where I was, the shell I was in before. So I try to think of the positive that came from the negative. I don't really know why they want guns. I don't really care what they do with their stuff. Just don't involve me in it and don't involve nobody around me in it, because then you're gonna set me on a bad track, and I don't wanna be on that track.
He's been around, he's lost friends. You're hard pressed now to find kids in the city that hasn't lost anybody to gun violence. And he lives with that trauma.
I heard guys tell me, yo, I'm gonna ride till I die. And then 2 weeks later, they died. Those guys knew what they were doing, and they said, I'm gonna ride till I die.
The problem is that youth today have been taught that they have no power. And the only time that they do have power is when they have a gun on them.
Jabari says keeping guns from kids is about retraining their perspective and instincts. The program doesn't keep statistics to know how many kids have turned away from handguns in the only program Toronto has. But Jabari is now starting a different program to estimate that number with the city.
The guns are gonna be there. But I think we've been successful in trying to help young people not choose those alleyways.
It's the pen is mightier than the sword, and all the information that is stored can't be ignored. I'm in the hood like Honda Accord.
Blackest Ninja is no social worker, but his views mesh with Jabari's. What he sees is that gun violence is the result of poverty and hopelessness.
It's a big social problem. It's not just an easy fix it, outlaw this and this is gonna happen. Like, they put hundreds of thousands of dollars of cameras in the hood, in the area, and crime still happens. So it's not the physical things, it's the work you gotta put in, it's the minds we gotta change, you know? We're here to change and grow and develop minds. We're not here to just contain them.
If you living for nothing, then homie, you better die for the cause.
When we come back, the shocking call we received from Blackest and what it revealed about his past.
Unfortunately, I got shot on the 1st of January.
And the body count is rising. It don't really faze me. It's my time. There's no ands, ifs, or maybes. What you say? What your name is? Blackest Ninja. How the name is that? The kind you always remember.
Blackest Ninja raps about the life he's lived in Toronto's gun-saturated Jane and Finch neighborhood. He's known too many young people who have become gun violence statistics. Never thought he'd become one himself.
We can do it how you want it. Call it all contenders. What you say?
He dropped out of sight for a while, until one day he left us this message.
Yo, what's up? It's Blackest. Unfortunately, I got shot on the 1st of January. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm good though. I'm here. So call me or I'll call you.
Blackest became a statistic, one of the first shooting victims of 2009. He says he wasn't targeted, but was a random victim of a random act of handgun violence.
I was going in the hallway to take out some garbage, and when I was walking outside the apartment, I noticed there were some people at the elevator. I heard right behind me the staircase door opening, and when it opened, a masked man came out and just started firing. And I got hit, and then I jumped out the way, jumped back into the apartment, and locked the door and called 911. Altogether, probably about 5-6 shots were fired. I don't know what the person was trying to prove or who they were trying to shoot at or something, but I'm just happy that nobody else got hurt. All the years I live in the community, I've never worried about something like this, and this has never happened to me. all of a sudden it was like, it's me now. So I think that it's just it was a wake-up call for me.
A bullet to his foot, no one charged, and no weapon recovered. The only apparent consequence, Blackus's long and painful physical recovery.
The hardest thing was going on the stairs and stretching it and just using my toes and, you know, doing tippy toes and stuff. That was the most painful out of everything I did, so.
How does someone get shot in the hallway of an apartment building, not know or claim to not know who did it? No one else able or willing to identify the shooter. Lack of cooperation, inconsistent information, misleading information. Those are the challenges that get in the way of police investigations and help perpetuate youth gun violence. Something Paul Warden knows all too well as the detective who investigated Blackus's shooting.
Blackus is the victim in this particular case. He was at the hospital, he was able to talk, his injury was just in the foot. He provided his recollection of what happened. Our concern with his story was it wasn't matching up when we later put it against other witnesses and the physical evidence at the scene. Didn't seem to match up with what he told us. Drugs and guns usually go together. It's not something Blackus led us in that, he did not lead us in that direction. He described this as a random out-of-the-blue incident. This occurred on the 10th floor. The shooter was waiting for him to come out of the apartment. And the apartment he was coming from, we received information through various tips and statements that there may have been some drug activity going on in that apartment. That doesn't seem like a random act to me. I believe Blackus was targeted, or that apartment was targeted for the activity that was going on there. And that was a concern to us during the investigation.
As it turns out, Blackus wasn't a stranger to police. What came out after his shooting was that Blackus was facing drug-related charges himself. Blackus maintains he wasn't targeted, has no idea why he was shot. But news of it spread quickly through the neighborhood, heard by the same kids who had been listening to Blackus's music.
Well, what does a 10-year-old learn when he, finds out about a shooting in his area, or especially an unsolved shooting? I strongly believe the community has to present some role models to help these young people see the big picture and understand that there are ways where people live good lives without getting involved in crime.
Blackus says he's aware of the big picture, knowing young eyes are now on him to see what he does next. The cycle of violence, he pledges, ends with him.
I am not gonna get any revenge on anybody, so I just hope that it just doesn't perpetuate, because we don't want to go to any more funerals. We don't want to put any more young men in prison. It's not cool, because the prisons is not a cool place to be, and the grave is definitely not a cool place to be.
In Canada's long gun control argument, we have lost sight of what needs debating. When children like Ephraim Brown are gunned down, more often than not, the people charged are barely more than children themselves. The two charged in his death were both 21 years of age. Both were known to police. One had previous gun-related offenses, the other gun-related charges that were later dropped. This is Canada's real gun control challenge, protecting our children from seeing handguns as power, from obtaining them easily and then using them. For almost 50 years, we've argued over statistics and their meaning, using numbers to support belief. And while we have, organized crime has quietly built a flow of illegal weapons into Canada no one knows the size of. We've captured barely a handful of the people behind it, seized so few of the illicit weapons that it's barely worth the effort, and failed to meaningfully infiltrate or understand the largest growing market for them, Canadian children.
At the end of the day, we can debate from morning until night. We can debate about all the issues, about whether the gun registry should be there, whether it should be a ban on a handgun. The fact of the matter is, our children are dying. Our children are dying day after day, and we have to do something about it. This is not a political game. Our children are dying.